Hello, and welcome to the next video in a multi-part series on becoming better at taking notes. If you haven't already, please listen to the earlier videos in this series. We will explore, refining, referring, and wrap up with the conclusions. The process of refining notes should happen as soon as possible, while the content is fresh in our mind. This immediate action will help us a lot when it comes to framing our understanding, figuring out questions and gaps, as well as generating insights. This stage has three sub-stages: analyze, summarize and reference. They need not be sequential, we might keep jumping back and forth between them, as we go through our notes. The analyze step is pretty self-explanatory. The main activity here is to reorganize the data logically, and in a structure that will carry the context forward. This structure could come across via headings, highlights or bullet points, or better, visual representations. Putting information into a structure helps us retain it for longer, and will make it easier to refresh our memory when we come back to the note later. When we are putting the information in a structure, we should use the opportunity that the structure affords, to see if there are any gaps in our understanding. For example, if we are trying to represent a process, are the steps progressing logically? Or have we missed something in between? Figure out the areas where something is missing or needs clarification. Similarly, if we can get an aha moment, we should note it down too. The summarize step is quite powerful, given that we scribe the understanding in our words. This step will test our knowledge and understanding, since we will be looking at key concepts, and explaining them for our future selves. A great way to take this further is to have multiple levels of summaries. Multiple levels will help in making the ideas even more concrete. A 100,000 feet level perspective, a 25,000 feet level perspective, and a detailed perspective will help us put the ideas together. Another advantage of multiple levels of summaries is that we could use the appropriate level based on the time and context. The reference step is where we make our understanding notes easily accessible, and know which one to come back to at a later date. Generally, we tend to ignore this since, from childhood, our learning is to put various notes together in broad categories. For example, school teaches us to put all our maths lessons in our math notebook and English lesson in our English notebook. Consequently, this behavior makes us want to put all their notes into one diary or repository, and mix up disparate information across multiple subjects. This mixing up of notes makes it more challenging to find the exact note we need. So, we ought to have a method that will help us get back to the right note. Categories or tags can accomplish this referencing. We might need to add dates as another means of grouping notes. Moreover, depending on the context, there might be more ways needed to reference the notes, like people involved or time of day. The stage kicks off when we encounter a situation that requires us to refer back to something that we made notes of in the past. The first step after encountering the need, is to use the correct references to narrow down on the notes that have the information needed. The second step is to evaluate if we need to update the note based on the current understanding. Maybe even the reference to the note needs updating too. If new information arises from the current situation, then we should quickly iterate through the note-taking process, to get this information into the repository. Note-taking is an intensely personal process. It depends on the content, the person taking down the note, and the context. We need to find ways to adapt standard tools and techniques to come up with a way that works for us. The hope is that some of the techniques mentioned above, can be used and modified to make one's note-taking more efficient. As always, there is no magic bullet to improving our note-taking abilities. Experience and practice is the only way to get better at it. Future articles will look at a few note-taking templates like the Cornell method, as well as methods like Zettelkasten that focus on archiving and retrieval of information. That's the end of this video and the series. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.